You ever wake up, look out over your land, and just know today's the day someone's going to try you? Because that's where my story starts. Right there at dawn, coffee in one hand, shotgun, leaning on the porch, and the wind carrying the smell of fresh dirt and trouble. I've always said there's two kinds of folks in this world, the ones who build fences and the ones who pretend they don't see them. I was raised a fence builder not because I wanted to keep people out, but because I believe every man deserves his boundaries. You spend 30 years working 5,000 acres. You learn the line between order and chaos is usually held up by a couple strands of barbed wire, 3 dogs, and a whole lot of stubborn. Most folks around here just call me Old Jay. Jacob Hills, if you're being formal. My daddy left me this spread corn on the east wheat, out past the irrigation line, soy up north, and a patch of alfalfa by the barns where the dogs like to roll when they're feeling disrespectful. House ain't much to look at, tin roof wraparound porch creaks when the wind blows and groans when it storms. But it's home. It's worked for decades. And every nail in it, every row of crops I put there with my own 2 hands. Things were peaceful out here until the day the HOA rolled in. Silver Pines Estates, they called it, cookie-cutter houses, beige boxes with perfect mailboxes, and more rules than common sense. I don't mind city folks wanting a piece of country living, but they brought their HOA queen with them, Karen Wallace. The first time I met her, she rolled up in a pearl-white SUV with tires so big they looked illegal. Mid-40s hair, blonder than field corn, sunglasses bigger than my dog's head, and a clipboard clutched like a weapon. She stepped onto my gravel like she owned the place, started chirping about landscaping standards, noise policies, and aesthetic cohesion. I told her, "Ma'am, this is my land. Private. Always has been." She gave me a smile like I was a child who'd just colored outside the lines, but she left wheels spinning, clipboard shaking, and I thought, well, that's that. Yeah, that happened, but it wasn't the end. Next few weeks, I started finding tire tracks through my east field. Big ugly ruts, fresh mud, soybean seedlings flattened like a parade came through in the night. Cameras didn't catch a thing, fields too big, dogs don't roam that far. Went to Sheriff Clark, good man, but there's only so much law can do without a license plate or a witness. Might be kids from town, he said. But my gut knew better. Then Karen comes back this time with a contractor in tow, standing right up at my fence line, talking about shared soil access for a community garden. I told her to plant her roses in her own damn yard. After that, the field damage got worse. Systematic, deliberate, like someone was making a point with every rut. And let me back up a sec, because if you think I was just sitting on my hands, you don't know farmers. I started keeping late hours mapped. Every new set of tracks tracked the comings and goings of a certain SUV parked at odd hours by the service road. You could almost feel the malice in the dirt. So I did what my daddy taught me: when the law can't help you, get creative. I started planning old school style, dug a trench deep enough to swallow a Jeep right where the tire tracks always cut through. Covered it up with boards and straw, laid a fresh skin of dirt on top. For good measure, I rigged up a signal jammer my son had left in my garage after a messy breakup killed cell service for 30 yards around the pit. Figured if Karen or whoever wanted to mess with my land, she'd at least have to do it on foot. That night I waited. Didn't have to wait long. Next morning, Buddy, my oldest hound, starts growling as soon as we hit the east field, and there it was, silver bumper sticking out of the earth, SUV nose down in the pit, rear wheels high as a bucking bronco, one tail light blinking, SOS. Karen was inside, wild hair face smudged with dirt, looking like she wanted to chew through the windshield. I laughed so hard I nearly had a heart attack right there in the mud. "Need a brochure on our HOA amenities?" I asked. She let loose a stream of curses I haven't heard since basic training. "Cell service a little spotty today," I grinned. Sheriff Clark showed up, took one look at the scene, and shook his head. "Jay, you know booby-trapping your land's illegal, right?" he said. I shrugged. "It's just a drainage trench, Sheriff. Nothing in the code against digging." He chewed on that, then nodded. "Suppose not. Karen was taken in for trespassing, reckless endangerment, destruction of property, plus the HOA had a pile of complaints against her already. But that wasn't the end either. A couple days later, I get a fat envelope civil suit. Karen Wallace v. Jacob Hills. She's suing me for emotional trauma, property damage, you name it. My son put me in touch with a lawyer, Linda Crowley, tough as boot leather. She took one look at the evidence, sheriff's reports, neighbors' trail cam photos, everything, and said, we're not just gonna win, we're gonna bury her deeper than that SUV. Turns out Karen had been running her own little fiefdom for years, harassing neighbors, threatening fines for things like garden gnomes and flagpole angles, even filing fake complaints. Linda gathered sworn statements, emails, audio from a brave board member who'd recorded meetings. Suddenly, this wasn't me versus Karen, it was the whole damn community. Court day was something else. News vans, neighbors, city folks with clipboards. Karen showed up in a black suit looking like she was headed for her own funeral, her lawyer all slicked up and oily. They tried to paint me as some rural lunatic with a vendetta, but Linda shredded them. Evidence timelines, trail cam footage, police reports, 6 neighbor affidavits. And the clincher, a recording of Karen herself bragging, if Hills won't cooperate, we'll make him drive through his crops if we have to. The whole room went dead silent. Judge ruled in my favor, full dismissal, restitution for my crops and legal fees, and a separate criminal case for Karen. She was stripped of her HOA crown, banned from office, fined, and made to do 3 years community service. Her house ended up for sale, lawn yellow mailbox sagging like a white flag. The best part, my land healed. I got a check big enough to fix the fields, upgrade the cameras, maybe buy a new grain cart. Sheriff Clark swung by just to shoot the breeze, said, you know, I've never seen anyone handle a mess like you did, Jay. I grinned, told him, no regrets, except maybe not digging the hole sooner. Now, the new HOA president is a retired teacher named Marlene who brings pie instead of threats. The dogs are back to napping on the porch, and my son visits more. Every once in a while, I get a letter from a stranger, folks fighting their own battles against little dictators with clipboards. I tell them the same thing every time. Know your land, know your rights, don't let anyone fence you in. As for Karen, last I heard she's cleaning animal pens at the county shelter, tried to sue the shelter for verbal abuse by barking. I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my coffee. But here's the thing, people like that they don't disappear. They find new boards, new towns, new rules to twist. But not here. Not ever again. Out here we look after each other and we remember. So what do you think? Was it justice or just an old farmer getting lucky? Drop your thoughts down below. Tell me about your Karens, your land, your fights. Because sometimes the only way to keep your freedom is to dig your heels in and hold the line, one fence, one field, one stubborn story at a time.